Hi guys, welcome back. Here's 10 things that you need to know before you move to Seoul, South Korea. Of course, this is all just based off of my own experience. Everyone has different experiences while they're here or anywhere abroad, but here's 10 things that I think are really helpful to know. This is something I've gotten a lot of questions about, which is about vaccinations in Korea. Now, Korea is very different than the US in terms of how they've dealt with COVID overall. They've been hit a lot harder with COVID. They have a lot of cases here. So yeah, most jobs will require you to get vaccinated. My job requires me to get vaccinated, and the whole country has this whole QR code system. On your phone you have a QR code and you just scan it when you go into different buildings, and it will give the building or like the company that owns the building all the information about you, about contacting you for contact tracing. Also, now the QR codes are linked to your vaccination status. So certain stores won't let you in if your vaccine is expired, and I'm kind of in that situation right now. I got vaccinated before I came to Korea. It was quite the whole ordeal trying to figure out how to register my vaccination here and get it all set up through the QR code. And once I finally did, I found out, oh, it's now expired, so I have to get a booster. So I'm planning on getting a booster next Wednesday. I have an appointment, so hopefully it all works out, but I'm gonna have to link all of that again and kind of figure it all out. That's just one of those things when you're a foreigner in a different country. There's a lot of things that just take longer to figure out. And I mean, it's worth the effort to put in and figure it out, but it can be a little bit complicated and you have to do research about things like that. So, the cafe by my house was closed. I was going to show it to you, but I guess not today. Anyways, cafe culture in Korea is a really big deal. People go to cafes all the time. It's really common with your work friends to go before or after work. People drink coffee at all hours of the day, and they also eat a lot of cakes and treats and stuff at cafes as well. Usually the drink of choice for Korean people is an iced Americano. No matter what the weather is, they just love Americanos. I'm not a coffee or a tea drinker, so I'll usually get something very fruity at a cafe, but there's a lot of options. Even if you don't like coffee and tea, there's a ton of smoothies, juices. They just have so many things there. It's really common for people to go cafe hopping or just go to a cafe after even eating out for dinner to get desserts and drinks and things like that. The next thing that might surprise some people is apartment size. So I'm currently in the upstairs bedroom of our apartment. We live in a loft style apartment, and I actually can't quite stand up all the way. I'm like on the stairs going down. I'm 2 stairs down and I still can't stand up all the way. There's even this right here you have to be careful not to hit your head on. But overall, apartments are a lot smaller from what I've seen than a typical apartment in the United States might be. And that's just really common, and I think it's also just a big city thing. Since I live in Seoul, apartments are more expensive than other places in Korea and often smaller. Okay, next is beauty and skincare. So obviously I have a roller in my hair right now, and I did this on purpose because it's very common to have a roller in your hair on public transportation. People going to work on the subway or on the bus will often have rollers in their hair just because it's like convenient and they're not quite done with their hair yet. They'll also be touching up their makeup, things like that. But if you know anything about Korea at all, you've probably heard of K-beauty, K-skincare, things like that. My collection has grown so much since getting here, and it's been really fun to just try out lots of different skincare ingredients, trying to figure out what all the words mean on them using translator apps, things like that. But it's really fun. Honestly, I haven't experimented so much with Korean beauty yet in terms of makeup. I have bought a few things that, like, I ran out of mascara, so I bought a new mascara, stuff like that. But honestly, with wearing a mask, I haven't been able to try so many things. Hopefully, at some point, I want to try out some different cushion foundations and things like that. But it's been really fun to start out with skincare. Now, something you often hear about with South Korea is work-life balance. And this is something that I've seen people struggle with before. I'm really lucky with my Hagwon in Korea. I have really set number of hours I have to be at work and a set number of hours I have to be teaching while I'm at work. So I have time for lesson prep. I have time to socialize and have breaks and things like that, which is really great, so I don't have to work overtime to like prepare for my classes and things like that. Although I do see my Korean coworkers, they work a lot. Like I've seen them for like events and things like that. They come and they have their regular work day and they stay until almost midnight to prepare and decorate and all these things for the next day for parties and things like that, and then they come in at 7:30 or 8 the next morning. So really, it depends a lot on your situation, but yeah, work-life balance is really different here than it is in the US. You don't get as much vacation. You're expected to put in a lot of extra time into your work, and work is supposed to be really like the most important thing. You have to care a lot about your job, and that's why I've seen a lot of turnover. Since I started my job, I've seen 3 or 4 people just quit. Like, they just never show up again. They one day disappear. It's pretty crazy. Okay, so we're talking about Korea. Of course we have to talk about the food. There's some incredible food here, even right next to my camera right now. I have some doenjang jjigae that Joseph made for us for dinner the other day. I love doenjang jjigae, but there's so many Korean dishes you can try. And the thing about Korea is, honestly, it's pretty inexpensive to eat out. People eat out a lot. In certain cases, it's less expensive to eat out than it is to make food at home. So you really have to kind of like look around and see what there is around you, because you could honestly save money and try some incredible food while you're just out and about. I've been able to experience so much food and try so many different things, and it's a great way to meet people, experience the culture, and just learn more about Korea. Joseph always says that you can learn Korean faster when you eat kimchi. I don't know if I would go that far, but it's true that like involving yourself in the culture by eating kimchi and being with Korean people will help you learn Korean faster for sure. Alright, so the next thing, a lot of people have opinions about this, but luxury items are really popular in Korea, especially luxury bags, designer brands, things like that. I have this bag. I actually bought this in Korea, and it is actually a knockoff bag, so I didn't buy it from Dior, but it obviously looks like a Dior tote bag. And honestly, the quality is really good. Like, it's a little bit more expensive than like a knockoff you would find in other places. I visited China before, looked at their knockoffs. They have a lot more. They're a lot more prevalent around, easier to find, but the quality in Korea is often better of the knockoffs. And honestly, it's really common for people to buy counterfeit goods, buy like bags and things that aren't actually from the designer but look like they are, just because it's so common to have bags like that here. I mean, honestly, everything even down to the details looks so accurate. Like, look at the tags. It's crazy. They put so much effort into making these look as authentic as possible. Okay, I tried my best to find the sketchiest place in my neighborhood, and here we are! Honestly though, it's just like a parking area underneath the highway by my house. Seoul is extremely safe though. I walk through here every single day on my way home from work, and I don't feel like I'm in danger. There's always people around, even when I'm coming home, literally at 8 o'clock at night and it's dark outside. There's always just people around, usually because people are working so late, but I've never really felt like I'm in danger. It's really, really safe here. Seoul is one of the safest cities in the world. Obviously, when you come to Korea, there's going to be a language barrier if you don't already speak Korean. Korean isn't very similar to any other languages. I have my Korean alphabet right here on my lovely poster. I've been studying Korean off and on for about 4 months now between working and all these other life things, so still don't think I'm very good at it at all. I have a long ways to go, so it definitely takes some time. You have to put some effort into it, but I'm trying, I'm learning, and I think people in Korea really appreciate when I try to speak Korean with them. Public transportation in Korea is also incredible. Seoul has one of the largest metro systems in the world, and honestly, it's so easy to use. There's like almost everything they say in Korean, and then they say it in English and Chinese afterwards, so it's really easy for most foreigners to kind of figure out what's going on. All of the lines are color coordinated, they have numbers, they're all labeled really well so you can see where the end destination is for each of the places. You can even look above the doors and it'll show you where you are currently and where the train is going and the next stop it's going to stop at. It can definitely be intimidating to navigate if you haven't used public transportation before, especially in a foreign country, but there are a lot of apps that make it easier. There's Seoul Metro, which I often use for navigating the metro, of course, and then Kakao Bus. I have different bus stops saved for when I need them to go to work and that kind of thing. I have the right bus saved at the right stop, so I can see before I even leave the office or before I even leave my house, I can tell how many minutes until the next bus comes. Okay, that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you'll subscribe and check out the other videos on my channel. I upload new videos every week, usually twice a week, on Thursdays and Sundays. So don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell to see all of my new uploads. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Bye!